I love our theme song.
Like a couple of little bobbleheads sitting here.
Yeah.
Do 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 do. Hey,
How are you this
I'm gonna
morning?
write some lyrics.
Are you? They have to be clean though.
I'm not gonna write any lyrics.
No, don't write lyrics.
I might try to write some funny lyrics. That could be exciting. Like I have so much spare time.
Yes, you do. You have nothing else to do. Big news on Twitter today. Huge. It's everywhere.
I know nothing about
Do you
this.
watch MMA? They're they're fighters.
What's it stand for?
I don't know.
Mixed martial arts.
Mixed martial arts. Thank you.
The wall just spoke.
Conor McGregor.
Okay, he sounds Scottish.
Yes. He was arrested.
Ooh.
He was arrested for stealing, but also for destroying. I guess he was leaving a hotel, and a fan came up to him and was taking his picture with that person's cell phone. So Connor hit him.
Oh, he's a mixed martial arts
Yeah,
guy?
so he's big. He's
there
a big
he is.
guy.
I see him right there. Well,
Yeah,
my
so
goodness.
he's a big guy.
That's
He
a
knocked his
bicep.
hand, and the phone fell on the ground, and then Conor McGregor, then stepped on it, crushed it, and took it with him,
What? Evidence?
I suppose. But if you recall, Conor McGregor is the same guy who picked up, those really tall dollies? Like a dolly.
Oh, like ones that move a fridge.
Yes, like he picked up one of those and chucked it at a bus full of his fellow MMA fighters.
He was mad at his fellow fighters and he threw a dolly at them. And
So
not
I
like
think he has a
Raggedy
bit
Ann.
of a temper issue. I'm just saying.
Fiery Scott.
Yes. You know what, though?
Is he in jail?
Well, he was arrested. He's
So?
not in jail because there's footage of him
He
coming
just
out.
didn't want that person taking his picture.
You can say, please don't take my picture. Right?
Hey, I heard you have a news item. I heard you talking about it.
What?
The cell phone thing.
Yes. Both my daughters are teachers. One's elementary, one's high school. My high school daughter, teacher daughter. Anyway.
Her daughter who teaches high school. Hi,
Thank
folks. My
you.
name is Tim Murphy and I'm here to translate for you.
She is going to be thrilled because
Cell phones in the
teenagers
classroom?
are very preoccupied with cell phones to the point where there's like total inattention and rudeness, and they're like
An entitlement.
I was going to say, and they are completely entitled. She says, "Could you please turn your phone off?" I don't have to turn my phone off.
So, Ontario?
Nobody's scared of nobody.
So the Ontario government.
Yeah, the Ontario government, and that's going to start like September.
So that if it's the government thing, that means it's a law.
Yeah.
If it's a law, that means it's enforceable.
Yes.
Which is the problem because right now it's not, as
That's
I
right.
understand it.
That's right, because teachers are. It's nice they're going to get back up because they're going to be more busy now with all the autism students that aren't getting coverage for therapy going to school now. So they're going to take some courses. Teachers are to learn how to deal with autistic students because they're not busy enough.
They're uploading that onto the teachers now? Now that they've cut the funding on?
They've cut the funding for therapy.
That's the solution?
That's the solution.
Put it on the teacher?
Well, because there's going to be a mass influx of students with autism, and they'll be on the spectrum at different levels. So they're going to, Rob Ford says, it's all good. We're going to teach the teachers. As I said, are teaching.
Doug Ford.
Yes.
Rob Ford's dead.
Oh, I'm sorry, Doug. But so teachers are teaching classes with 30 kids in it who are all on their phones or, not paying attention. And
So this is class time only. Like kids can
So
still
far.
use their phones in the schools, just not in class. So
Right.
they could make a phone call to family or whatever.
And they're saying too, like if teachers want to use their phones
for educational
purposes, or if there's a medical situation, or in case of emergency, students can definitely. But I would.
So a teacher could actually say, okay, take out your phones and we're going to look up this? Or
She could hook it up to.
they have the ability, I don't know whether teachers can allow a student to use the phone with their permission.
I don't know.
I don't know. We'll have to find that out.
Yeah, I believe probably.
But I don't understand, because if they ban the cell phones in the classroom, then how are the kids going to call Doug Ford snitch line?
Right. They'll get mom and dad to do that.
I suppose. Hey, happy Plant a Flower Day.
Plant a flower day.
Can you imagine?
Today?
Who came up with that?
Where are you planting your flower?
You know what? You can take your flower and plant it in the snow.
Bank.
Plant a flower. That's
Plant
just
a
mean.
flower.
That's just mean.
You know what?
People are not.
Person who's made that is not from Canada.
No.
They don't know where Canada is.
No, they don't even know. No, Plant a Flower Day on March the, what is this? 12th. Well, I guess you can plant it indoors.
You know what? You can plant it indoors. Now,
and
look at you. You're so critical. You just jump to the conclusion. What a stupid thing to say.
Except I resolved it, didn't I, before the segment was over? I think that was pretty clever of me to realize that you could plant a flower indoors and have it ready to go in the ground for when the snow, when this godforsaken snow leaves us.
You think it ever will?
I don't know.
Oh my gosh, I was sitting there yesterday looking out the window going, I've been sitting out here in this same chair looking at the same thing for months.
I had a coffee at home yesterday and I looked out the window and I thought, remember when you used to sit outside and drink coffee?
Right? No, not now.
It seems so long ago.
Doesn't it? Oh my gosh.
Brutal winter.
Yes.
Tell me about Olivia Newton-John.
Well,
I saw a little thing and you were gonna.
Yeah,
I got concerned.
And she's been battling cancer for like more than 10 years now.
See, I knew that, but and then I knew that she was in remission. Breast cancer
initially, and then it came back again, and then it came back again most recently. And it was the tumor on the bottom of her spine.
Oh no!
So they took it out, and she had to relearn how to walk.
She doesn't. She's a trooper. Like she doesn't let.
You know what? She's just and she talked about cannabis on Entertainment Tonight.
We're talking about cannabis today.
Yeah, and she said, you know, it's really helped me with my pain levels. And she said, trying to stay positive and stuff like that.
The oils
She said you can get stuff that doesn't make you stoned. Just helps with your pain.
The CDP,
you know, like
CDP
she was feeling sick to her stomach all the time, so that really helped. And so it really, she's
learning to walk again.
What an inspiration.
Is she our age? Is she?
I think she might be a bit older than
like
me.
60-ish.
Yeah. I think so.
Olivia Newton-John. I always really liked her.
She's so amazing.
And she's been really, as I say, as you say, she's really been a model for fighting cancer.
Yes.
Staying positive.
What? Like so many people who have to deal with cancer, once they say you're in remission and it's gone and you're cured, how do you not keep thinking, when's it coming back? Is it coming back? When's it coming back? You know? You
have to really learn to not do that though, don't you? Because that kind of stuff, mind over matter, mind is so powerful.
Yeah, it really is.
You know what else is powerful?
What?
Social media.
No, I know.
There's a guy named Billy Bye. Billy Bye lives in Houston, Texas, just outside of Houston. His father opened a donut shop.
Oh, I saw that.
Nobody went.
Oh.
Nobody went to the donut shop. So Billy Bye went to Twitter and he put a picture of his father behind the counter with all these great donuts and baking and food, looking real sad. And he posted on the Twitter, I have it right here. My dad is sad because no one is coming to his new donut shop. The next day, they were sold out. Customers were flocking in.
Lined up outside the store.
To buy the donuts and the baked goods.
Crazy?
The power of Twitter.
I love the positive stories because we don't talk about those enough, right? It's so easy.
Oh, there they are. Look at Billy Bye and his dad.
Yeah, and his dad, he's an immigrant.
Now his dad is smiling.
And now his dad's happy and stuff. The donuts look phenomenal. I just say.
No, I like the hot dogs in the thingy. Did you see those?
No.
Oh, I don't know what they were called. They were called something, and it was like hot dogs and pastry, but not like little cocktail sausages, like the full on.
Like a corn dog.
But in pastry.
Ooh.
I'll show you the picture. Maybe we could create something.
Yeah, let's pretend we know what we're talking about.
Did you see Donald Trump take his hat off?
No.
You didn't see it?
No, I missed it.
I wonder if Michael can find the image. Michael, it's Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago, and he had just come off the golf course, and he's talking to people, and he's like, oh yeah, I just squeezed a game of golf in, and he said, and my hair's a mess, and he took off his hat.
Did the hair come with it?
No, but you really could see his hairline for the
Really?
At first I thought, holy mother of pearl, he's bald.
Is he?
But it's just that he's so thinning and it's so light. It was all, you know how his son Eric wears his hair all pushed back and greased? It was all pushed back like Eric's hair, but without any product in it. So it was just like baby fine and flat against his head, and with the coloring, and it matched his skin, and he actually looked like he had no hair on top.
Really?
And he said, and then he made a remark about a different hairdo at some point. He's like, oh no, I gotta try I'm trying a different hairdo or something. Gotta get my hair.
That guy's hair color changes more than any woman I know.
But I was wondering whether this was a ploy to maybe sort of ease us into the new Donald Trump hairdo. Because even the back,
No, he's too egotistical.
Okay.
He's got.
Well, anyway, it was. Look, that's not the picture. But anyway, you can see it. It was worse than that even.
Wow.
Yeah, it wasn't a red. It was just him and Mar-a-Lago, like just in the clubhouse.
Just hanging out.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Anyway, just hanging out.
Just hanging out.
I hope you'll hang out with us today for the rest of the show. We have a couple of great interviews. Cannabis in the workplace. Got any questions? There's a workshop. And also young entrepreneurs. So all that, plus Luann has the news on Mornings with Luann and Tim. We'll be right back after this brief message. Welcome back to Mornings with Luann and Tim. I'm joined now in the studio by Louise and Megan. Welcome, ladies. Thanks for joining me this morning. The topic is cannabis in the workplace. Caught my attention right away when we were looking at the community calendar. Oftentimes, to book guests, I go to the community calendar and look what's coming up in the city, and you guys were there. Yeah. So, Megan, first of all, let's talk about where you're from.
I'm from the Millwork Center for Entrepreneurship.
Now, is that an Algoma University thing?
No, it's a project of the Economic Development Corporation.
From the EDC?
Yes.
Because Algoma U used to have something in Millworks as well, but they've moved out.
They have a business society that they do for the students.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is through the Economic Development Corporation.
Yep. So we're Center for Entrepreneurship.
Center for Entrepreneurship.
Yes.
So, being a young person, cannabis is newly legalized in our province.
Yes.
Is that what made you think, okay, there's a lot of ambiguity, maybe a lot of questions, a lot of unanswered questions?
Yeah, so I was going through LinkedIn and I saw that there was a lot of people that were questioning that subject. They didn't really know what it was about, how it would implicate, and how it would affect them at work. And then I had connected with Louise at our Bridges to Better Business event in October.
Bridges to Better Business?
Yes.
Is that an annual event?
Yeah, every October we put it on.
Okay, what's that about?
So basically what it is we have what we call a pitch competition. So we have young entrepreneurs come in and they pitch to the crowd, and then they win a prize to start.
Were you in the crowd?
I was.
Okay.
I even voted.
Impressive?
It was awesome. It was really, really well done.
This Millworks thing is a cool project.
It's pretty exciting.
All right. So anyway, yes. Megan, you're considering this workshop, or
yes?
So you like to offer different workshops. Tell me about that.
Exactly. So we like to offer different workshops for young and older entrepreneurs who are looking to kind of expand their business and to kind of make it the best business that they can. So then that's when I thought of Louise, because we have this education series. So basically, at least once a month, we like to try and offer some sort of workshop, and it can be in any field, any subject. So then I reached out to Louise and thought, oh, well, any type of subject in HR would be great. And she suggested cannabis in the workplace. And then I thought, well, that would just be perfect.
Yeah, so Louise, she reaches out to you, and is this something that you had worked on previously?
Yes, so it's very timely. I teach a 4-hour course on cannabis in the workplace.
Ah, you already had a program in place.
Yes, and I also teach it as part of my supervisor course for health and safety supervisor training.
Because you have your own consulting firm.
I do.
And it's called?
Health and Safety Professionals.
Health and Safety Professionals.
Yes.
What's your background in health and safety?
So I started as a nurse. So it's nursing first.
That makes sense.
Yes, and then into health and safety. So I've been doing that for about 20 years. And this is very topical for workers and supervisors, managers at work.
Were you prepared for this? I mean, you saw the legislation was going to be coming down the pipes.
Absolutely.
And as somebody who's in your industry.
Yes. So I knew it was going to be
Did you start researching?
For sure.
Yeah.
So lots and lots of reading, attended about 4 sessions from various legal firms online and locally.
Oh, really?
filled the brain with good information, ask lots of questions, and there's always lots of learning to do in this topic area.
So now when you said young and old entrepreneurs, I think, did you also mean new and seasoned? I mean, people who have, because I think we discussed this before we came on air, this is a level playing field for everybody who's in business, whether you've been in business for 50 years or 50 days.
Yeah.
This legislation is impacting everyone at the same level because it's new to everybody.
Exactly.
Fair enough?
Fair enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you, I mean, how do you even start talking about what the implications are?
I start with understanding what it is. So I reach back to
You
my
mean the
nursing,
substance itself?
The substance. So
Cannabis.
what is cannabis? How does it affect us? What do we know out there in terms of research? What don't we know? And how will it affect us at work? And I get people to start thinking about how if memory loss or not making quick decisions or affecting what they're going to do next, how that will affect
Decision
them.
making, speed,
Exactly.
reaction time.
Yeah, any of their psychomotor skills can be affected.
Psychomotor skills. If you're operating heavy machinery or
Yeah, it's
anything like
kinda-
that,
it's
oh
scary.
my gosh.
What if you're doing a lockout and you've got electricity and you're responsible for yourself and another 50 people?
Right.
It's pretty scary.
And I mean, even for medical cannabis at this point, there are so many different strains and levels and reasons why people are using, not misusing, using the medication.
Yes.
That there, with the THC levels, you can get stuff that's more CTP, which is sort of the pain, helps alleviate the pain, with very little THC, which is what sort of is the more of the
psychoactive.
The psychoactive.
Yes. Yeah.
But not everybody, we're not all our own chemists, and somebody might buy the wrong thing and end up with a little more THC than they need, and that's a trial and error thing too. And you don't want people trying and erroring on the job.
Exactly. So there are implications for the supervisors that are managing the workplace and who are
They
responsible.
have to know what to look for?
Exactly.
Is that what you're talking about?
So that's part of what we do, is teach supervisors how to see if their workers are fit, and that's the buzzword, fit for duty. So are you fit to come to work to do your job? And it's going to be different depending on what kind of job you have.
Well, we were talking off camera again about the police force, and Hugh Stevenson, who is the chief of police, has basically put in with their HR that I think is it 28 days?
I don't remember. I'd have to fact check.
That's okay. I won't push you. I won't make you say anything wrong. But I'm pretty sure that there's a time limit on. They have to report for duty and be clean for this length of time.
Yeah.
And basically, what it comes down to is that they're not going to be allowed to toke at all, or use not just toke or vape or take a.
Yeah, and certainly some workplaces, larger workplaces, have gone zero tolerance.
Zero tolerance.
Yeah.
So
And
nothing in your system.
Some legislation is zero tolerance as well.
So now.
If you are, if you have an A, B, C, D, E, F license or CBOR, you have to be completely clean.
Completely clean. See, these are things that people aren't going to know. You know this stuff.
Yeah.
So how are tickets going for this thing?
They've been going really well. We only have a few tickets left.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, so people need to register in advance.
Yeah. Yes, it's registration in advance. It's $15 per ticket.
That's good.
Yeah.
You're serving refreshments.
We are.
Thank you. Oh,
And some light snacks.
The poster's up right now. That's good. Leave that up for a sec, Michael. Well, Megan, you tell us, where do we go to find the tickets?
So if you go to the millworks.ca.
Millworks.ca.
Yep.
Okay.
You can purchase your tickets there. We're also on Facebook at the Millworks SSM.
Okay.
You can purchase tickets through our event page there as well.
All right. The event is actually happening when now?
March 19th.
Which is a week.
A week today.
A week from today.
Yep.
At the machine shop?
Well, in our office, which is
your
in
office,
the machine shop.
The Millworks office at the machine
Yep.
shop. Okay.
Yep.
And what time of day?
It starts at 8:30.
How long are you going to be there?
An hour and a half.
Hour and a half?
Yep.
With Louise? You know what? I would like to go. I'm going to be working, but it sounds like it's going to be extremely interesting. Lots of questions answered.
There are always lots of
And then if
questions.
somebody is interested who doesn't go to this workshop, but they're interested in bringing you in, this is what you do.
Absolutely.
You will come into a firm and consult. You'll actually hold the meetings with the staff and tell them what this legislation means to
And
them.
I'll make it specific for their type of workplace.
And the name of your company again is?
Health and Safety Professionals.
All right. Thank you very much for being here today. Megan, it's so nice to see you.
Thanks.
Tell your father that I send my very best. Louise, a
Great.
pleasure to
Thank you
see you
so much.
again. Come back anytime, and
Okay,
we'll be
thank
back
you.
with more Mornings with Lou Ann and Tim right after this. Still so many unanswered questions about cannabis.
Yes. And like she said in the green room,
Yeah.
it's going to take like 10 years of learning. But do you remember when Sonny Spino used to come from the city police, and he would do Top Story with me once a week, and we talked about cannabis a couple of times, and he said the same thing. He said we're going to be learning about it for a long time to come still.
And I guess, I mean, if they had waited until all of these questions were answered, the questions probably would never have gotten answered.
That's right.
It's kind of like one of those situations, if you build it, they will come. If you got to make it happen.
You got to make it happen.
You got to jump in, jump into the fire, and then modify and figure it out as you go. Because otherwise, we'd just be sitting around waiting for legislation forever.
Well, and that's what everybody complains about, right? On every issue, it's taking too long. It's taking too long. It's like, oh.
And it's not like we're reinventing the wheel, because other people have had legalized cannabis, other states, other countries, for years before us. So obviously, there's a way to.
Only one more.
Ooh.
One other than Canada is the first country, or the second country as a whole, to declare pot legal.
What's it? Brussels, Amsterdam? Where's Amsterdam? Where is that? We should know this. In The Hague, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yes.
It's legal there, isn't it?
Yes.
Is that a country? I don't do geography.
Apparently.
No, I just do trivia.
Trivia. What else you got then?
Okay, so Nancy Pelosi opened her big yap.
Man, didn't she?
Shouldn't say that. She doesn't have a big yap. I respect Nancy Pelosi.
I do too.
But I don't think that she should have gone and said that they're not going to pursue impeachment. But basically what she said was, it doesn't make sense. 2020 is the election. To go through an impeachment process from now, 2019, when the election is just a year away, we might as well just wait, ride it out, and let the polls speak for themselves. And I have a feeling, people are conjecturing, that when Mueller comes out with his investigation, the Russia connection is not going to be strong enough for impeachment.
No, they're saying that.
They're
They've been saying that for a long time.
This whole thing now is ending up as catching the Trump organization in basically laundering money, illegal activities.
Well, the Trump administration and the Trump company have up to 80 investigations going on right now. So maybe that's another reason why she says we don't really need to pursue it at this point.
In 2020,
and she talked about it dividing the company, or the country,
dividing the country
even more so.
Right. If the Democrats try to get him out of there, there's going to be even a bigger rift between the two parties, the two major parties. The other thing was about the business. Did you see CNN last night? Okay, so one of the guys that was in the office with Cohen on the tape where they're talking about how to pay off Stormy Daniels and Donald, and they say cash. No, it's going to be cash. And then the recording ended really abruptly. That Michael Cohen thing that we heard. And everybody's like, why did the tape stop? Well, there's probably more to it. And that's, so, from the Trump camp, it was like there was more to that conversation that's not going to make him sound so guilty. Well, they were right. There is more to the conversation, but it's not good.
No.
The reason they didn't release the rest of the conversation was because they were still investigating this other guy. And this other guy was the guy that was on CNN.
Gotcha.
And now he has come out and said, oh yeah, I dealt with Michael Cohen a lot, and here's what Michael Cohen told me about Donald Trump, and here's what I knew about the Trump organization. Why didn't you tell us any of this before? Asked CNN. He says, because now that these 81 people have been called in, now I can talk.
Wow. So what was he saying? What were some of the
He was saying, basically, they were good at this. They knew how to bury stuff. Really? And what that meeting was about, when they talked about the name David came up, if David gets hit by a bus.
Yeah.
David Pecker, National Enquirer.
Oh, yes.
What they were saying was, let's put together all of the accusations, all the sexual assault accusations, all of the Stormy Daniels type, the blackmail stuff. Let's get all those lawsuits together and figure out how to deal with them all at once. Because if we handle Stormy Daniels, others are going to come out of the woodwork, and David Pecker and the National Enquirer and the buried stories. We need to figure out a plan to do all of this, and that's what they're saying. So we do it all together, and if David, and then Truck says like hits by a bus, and all of his secrets are released. So that meeting was a plot to try to figure out how to handle all the nasty stories that could surface and affect his presidency.
If walls could talk, right? Imagine what they'd say.
Now. They're talking now.
Awesome. Please stay with us. We have so much more coming up on Mornings with Luann and Tim.
Well, as of right now, I don't know if my second guest is going to make it here today for the live interview.
Okay.
I haven't seen them yet, so there's a possibility they won't get here. Sometimes stuff happens. It's live TV.
Yes.
But I do have an interview standing by. I don't know if I ever told you that I filled in for Sandra Houston's Over the Rainbow Children's series one time, and I brought all my ventriloquist puppets back out and did a show for them. I had a blast. The kids, the audiences are great. It all happens at the theater center at White Pines, the Community Theater Center. And so upcoming is this Canadian juggler comedian guy. His name is Bob Cates. Oh. He's coming to perform for the Over the Rainbow Children's series, and I Skyped with Bob. So we have that. I was going to air it later in the month. So just in case my guests don't show up, we have Bob Cates standing by that Skype interview.
That sounds fun.
He's a hoot, and the series is great, and you don't have to belong to the whole series to go. You can buy individual tickets.
That's good to know.
It's a lot of fun for the kids.
Awesome, awesome. You know what? What's not a lot of fun?
No, what? No, tell me.
Roseanne Barr.
Oh, she keeps doing it to herself.
Man, she was fired, of course, because she referred to Valerie Jarrett with an inference to the show Planet of the Apes. And she, of course, as we recall, took responsibility for it, was crying and like just so remorseful and devastated, and then she got fired and she stopped crying a little bit, and then she got angry, and now she's blaming it on Michelle Obama.
Why?
Yeah, because Michelle Obama went to the head of ABC and said, you got to get rid of her.
That's not true.
No, of course it's not true.
Is she gone?
She's a little bit.
She's going.
Yeah, I think she said that in an interview. Well, Michelle Obama went to the head of ABC and told him to fire me. So he did.
She also made a really other strident remark that hit people the wrong way. Was it another thing about racism? I don't even know.
She's always at it.
She's got a.
I don't know
she's
why
volatile.
She
can't leave her.
Yeah, just stop.
Stop sticking your lips in it.
Just say hello and goodbye. Thank you would be nice too.
I mean, talk about being at the top of the heap.
Right?
Do you remember when she first came out? I still recall that first Tonight Show stand. I watched that.
Everybody was like.
When she first came out on the Tonight Show as being the domestic goddess.
Yes.
That routine killed.
Yeah, she was awesome.
And boom, her career went.
Yeah,
and then she just steps in it.
She just keeps burying
her
herself.
own worst enemy.
I know how that feels. Please stay with us. We have so much more coming up on Mornings with Luann and Tim. We'll see you in a minute.
Joining me in the studio right now via Skype is Canadian entertainer Bob Cates. Bob is going to be coming to Sault Ste. Marie for a performance as part of the Children's Rainbow Entertainment Series. The show is on March the 30th. Is that right, Bob?
Yep, that's right.
Saturday, March the 30th. Welcome to Mornings with Luann and Tim. Where are you? Where in the world are you, Bob?
Actually, I'm at home in Cambridge, Ontario right now.
Home in Cambridge. You're getting ready to launch on a 40-day tour. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Besides the 2 weeks that will take us all the way from this area all the way to beyond Winnipeg, we're also doing some shows in Texas and then a cruise ship before we even start that. So,
you and cruise ships have quite an ongoing relationship. 20 years now on cruise lines for you?
Yeah, pretty much. I've spent over 250 weeks of my life on ships. That's spread over 20 years, though, so it's not like those whole 5 years were in a row, thankfully.
No. and when we say we right now, you're talking about traveling. You're traveling with your wife, Jane, and with your son. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. So I've been full-time for about 23 years, but married Jane about 12 years ago this summer, and she quit her job and joined the business. And so we worked together.
She ran away and joined the circus with you.
That's right.
And I understanding, if this is correct, did Jane not hire you for a gig, and that's how you met?
Yep, that's correct. So she was a director of children's ministry at a large church, actually, in London, Ontario. And she hired me, but I was too shy to ask her out, so it wasn't until actually 4 years later that we got together.
So, and it wasn't just that she was looking for a job, was it? No?
No, not really.
Or she wanted cheap tickets for the show. Is that what it was, Bob?
Yeah, just the glamour of travel.
Now, you grew up a farm boy. Did you grow up in Ontario on a farm?
Yes, down near Sarnia, Ontario direction. We had 400 acres and 1,000 pigs. So
wow,
you can probably guess what I learned to juggle with. That's a lot of pigs.
Tell me about learning to juggle. How old were you? How did this all start with you?
Well, it's pretty crazy that I'm a professional comedy juggler now, because I didn't learn to juggle till I was about 18, a little beyond 18, almost done high school. Okay. And you mentioned ventriloquism previously to me, and actually I was interested in ventriloquism before juggling. Right. And I got a book from the library, I remember, as a teenager, but I didn't really have that aha moment where you're like, I'm doing it. So it's not like, oh, I'm talking right, I don't know. and it just like life changes forever. But once I tried to work out how to juggle, and I spent a couple hours in the basement with tennis balls and just methodically and doing what I thought theoretically you'd have to exchange 2 balls in one hand. And after a couple hours, I managed to get 3 going for a few cycles, and I just was like, I can't believe it, I did it. And that was the aha moment where you got addicted to it and you kind of keep going from there.
And so you went from tennis balls to what? What kinds of things do you juggle now, Bob?
Wide variety of things. So specially made juggling balls, clubs, knives, rings, fire torches, cigar boxes. A lot of balancing type things. I have a cool trick that I put a table on my face. And
Really? I have a trick where I end up with my face on the floor, but it's not quite the same thing. Did you say that you juggle flaming torches?
Yes, and you know what? Unfortunately, nowadays I don't do it very often because I don't do them indoors. No. Although in the glory days 20 years ago, nobody minded doing torches indoors on cruise ships. But as safety has gotten more and more,
things have changed, haven't they? You can't juggle torches inside a theater anymore like you used to.
Yep, that's right. So
I was wondering whether I should alert Greg Marshall, who you're going to meet here. He's the director of the theater center here in the Sioux, where you'll be performing. And I wondered if I should let him know that you're bringing flames. He doesn't like flames in the theater.
No, we'll keep it safe from that perspective, though.
Now, when you're performing for children, I mean, obviously you've done cruise ships and you perform everywhere. People can hire you for any variety of audiences. What is it about performing for children that's special for you? Is there a special bond that you have with youth?
Yeah, it's the wonderment is there, and we actually did a show just for the community here a couple weeks ago on Family Day, and it was wonderful. All the kids just kind of with their mouths on the floor. Mm-hmm. I'm surprised. I have no recollection of seeing a comedy juggler or even a magician as a kid live. I must have seen like maybe a TV show of a circus, but I never got to see one live, growing up on a farm and stuff like that. And so kids, when they can come out at a young age and see this type of thing, it's like magic. Like the juggling is like magic, but it's like, how do you do it? But it's not a trick.
And with the children, it's very interactive, your show. Is that correct? You actually do some of the kids get to join you, or are you in the audience at all? How does that work for you?
Yeah, you're correct. It is very interactive, both verbally, I'm interacting with them, getting them to respond, and sometimes not just applause, but with questions. And I have volunteers both on the stage with me, and I interact with the volunteers as they're at their seats type of thing. So, yeah, it's pretty interactive.
And yes, we were talking off camera before, and I mentioned that I had been a ventriloquist when I was younger, and I was getting back into it. And you mentioned the library book. That is actually how I learned, the same as you. I went to the library and took out a book, and that's how I started with ventriloquism. Now, juggling, you say you're self-taught. What about the stuff that you do, like with the unicycle and those sorts of things? How did you come across that now? Is that just a sort of expanding your performance horizons, or what?
Yeah, pretty much. An interesting fact. I learned all this. The first couple of years I got into this, it was pre-internet. So 1989, 90. Well, I learned juggling in 89, and then about a year later, I went off to, I had a year of Bible college, and I went up to college, and I just thought, well, I guess a juggler should have a unicycle, right? And you know how hard it was to find a unicycle pre-internet? Like, where would you go to find a unicycle? And so I looked for months, and eventually found one at Pro Hardware. And so a buddy of mine at college, we both got one, which was fantastic because the unicycle is so hard and so frustrating. But if you have a buddy to learn it with you, then there's a bit of friendly competition. And so we learned it going up and down the halls of our dormitory with our hands on the walls, trying to stay balanced.
You know, you mentioned not as a youth, never really seeing a juggler or a sort of a comedy performer in person. And I think that's true for me also. I mean, the plate spinners, you do the huge plate spinning trick, I guess, as one of your grand finales, right?
Yep.
But I'd only ever seen that on Ed Sullivan and that sort of thing. I'd never seen that live either. So to have the opportunity to see those kinds of skills. Hey, do you ever think that maybe you're inspiring some other kids to do what you're doing? Do any kids express an interest in learning how to do stuff after they've seen you?
Yes, they do. I sometimes bring, and I will be bringing some juggling equipment for sale if anybody wants some after, get the basics type of thing. I've noticed over the years, as you know, I've been full-time over 23 years, and as time goes by, you see how the younger people start out, and it's really interesting. Everybody really makes their own way as far as performing goes, though, right? So, they might have a different pathway as far as skills or genres. Maybe one person's more magic than juggling, one person's more stand-up comedy than skill-based things. But the real big kicker is personality. Everybody's personality. You have to find who you are as a performer, and you could take magic, for example, and a certain magical trick. Two different people could perform it so differently just because of their personalities, and it's the same way with juggling.
Very true, and because it is that pattern, that audience interaction really is what sets a performer apart and gives us our individuality. So, Bob, obviously you've had an amazing career. It's spanned as many years as you said, over how many years now for you? 20 years?
Yeah, about 23 years from the full-time, a couple of years before that part-time.
Just a few of the awards you've won. Well, at the RIT New York Juggling Festival, Most Difficult Trick, you won the award for that. Molson Canadian FEO Awards, Best Entertainer of the Year. 2016, National Entertainer of the Year at the Canadian Event Industry Awards, which is a huge award in our country as far as entertainment goes. And Canadian Comedy Awards, Best Variety Act of 2018. Bob Cates, you're going to be here in Sault Ste. Marie on Saturday, March the 30th. Tickets are available. You can get a hold of the, let's see, it's that, you want to get a hold of the theater center. That's Sault Community Theater Center. The website is Sault, S-A-U-L-T, SaultCTC.ca. Tickets are available also at the Station Mall box office, and you can also contact the Sault Ste. Marie and Algoma Arts Council. They would have ticket information for you as there. Well, so, and this is Bob. I think the adults are probably going to enjoy this show as much as the kids. Would you agree? Is that
Oh, definitely. Yep, definitely.
That's the response you get. I look forward to it, and I wish you all the best. Safe travels to you and Jane and your son, and we'll see you here in Sault Ste. Marie in just a few weeks.
Sounds good. Thanks so much.
Thanks for your time today, and we'll be back with more Mornings with Luann and Tim right after this. Did you find something interesting?
I did. I don't know if you heard the news last night, but 3,000 pounds of cocaine was found at a legal crossing at Newark. $77 million worth of cocaine, the most in 25 years, and it was at a legal crossing. Did I mention the legal crossing?
How much? Pounds?
3,000 pounds.
My God.
That's a lot of coke.
That's a weekend right there. Ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow is Wellness Wednesday.
For the weekend.
Tomorrow is Wellness Wednesday. So stay well until then. We'll see you tomorrow morning on Mornings with Luann and Tim.